Hi everyone. Today we're going to have a nice snack. Roasted garlic grilled cheese. Yummy. And a French onion dip. Grilled cheese. They look pretty cool. So let's make them now. The first one we need to do is our roasted garlic. We need some bacon. So I've got a pound of bacon. There's no way I'm going to need all that. We're going to cut it in half. Take a baking sheet with some parchment paper and we'll lay out the pieces we need for our grilled cheese. Throw them in the oven, 400 degrees. About 15 minutes or so. They should come out looking something like that, nice and bendy, chewy. Now if you want them a little crispier than that, keep them in for a little longer. I had a buddy of mine I worked with. He always asked for bendy bacon. He didn't want it soft and he didn't want it crispy. He wanted it bendy, kind of like that. So because I want mine a little crispier, I kept my daughter's share out and I put it back in the oven. So here's our garlic. We're going to make roasted garlic. Now, as I was getting the garlic, I found that right there, which is a little jar of roasted garlic. Well, I think that would work too. But let's say you can't find a little jar of roasted garlic. So we've got our 2 cloves. We peeled as much as the paper as we can. And now you're going to slice just a little bit off the top. Like that. So you can see on this one, just be careful. I'm more concerned about my fingers and if it moves. There's not like a garlic holder on her gadget. So you just have to use your hands and make sure your fingers are out of the way. Well, there you go. There's our 2 garlics all opened up, and that's going to go in the oven. Okay, now we're going to double fold the tin foil and then take our garlic and loosely wrap it up. It doesn't have to be super tight. Kind of something sort of like that. And into the oven, 400 degrees. Oh, I did forget to drizzle a little bit of olive oil. My bad. Next up is a tomato. We need a couple slices for each sandwich. Thinly sliced, of course. You don't want it super thick. So it's as thin as you can make them. Something like that. I still got a half a tomato I can use in another dish. And we'll put these on a plate and put them aside. Next up is the bread. Any type of bread you like. This is just the loaf I got. It looked cool. But it's not very big, as you can see. So I cut the end off and then realized I'm not going to get much of a sandwich. So how about we kind of cut it at an angle. Something like that. I guess you could make an even bigger angle. And you know, if you don't want to get fancy, just use regular bread. It'll pretty well do the same thing. We'll put our bread aside, clean up. Now our garlic's out. It's been a good 40 minutes, and let's see what it looks like. I've let it cool down too. So 40 minutes in the oven, then let it cool down so you can handle it. And the idea is, we'll take a little bowl and you just squeeze out the garlic and just squeezes out of the little cloves. It's kind of cool. So there you go. There is our roasted garlic. Now you got to mush it down with a fork. Well, I thought that was pretty cool. We'll put that aside. Let's put these sandwiches together. So we've got a plate and some melted butter and a tablespoon of parsley, dried parsley, and our mushed up garlic. Now you could put, the recipe called for a half a teaspoon of salt, but I figure there's salt in the butter, that's good enough. When we mix all that together, we'll bring in our bread, and now we're going to carefully butter both sides. Now the one thing I found when I flipped it over, the butter is going to congeal, so see how I flipped it over? I was doing that to build the sandwich, but I probably should have left it upside down because it started sticking to the plate when I got it over to the pan. So there's the rest of the garlic that we mushed up. Now that there is a little bit of mozzarella, not sure how much, about that much. Our sliced tomatoes, our bacon, one side crispy, one side not so much, and that's Gruyere cheese on top, and this should stick it all together. Now I probably should have put just a little bit of cheese in the middle where the tomatoes were to kind of let it all melty down, which I didn't. It's alright, still works. Into our frying pan, we're just about to flip here. Like that. Look at that. That's almost perfect. A little dark, but not too bad. You can see I'm having troubles with the tomato. The sandwich is kind of trying to fall apart. That's okay, I fixed it. I actually went in and put a little bit of extra cheese in so it would hold together for me. See how it's falling apart there at the bacon? And there's our roasted garlic grilled cheese. So now on to the French onion. This is about a half an onion I sliced up. Not super fine. Doesn't need to be. Take it away and into a frying pan. Now that was supposed to be a tablespoon. I think that's a little more. Not much though. That's okay. We'll mush around the onions. I'm sure it'll be fine. And when the onions are done, they should look something like that. Now to this we're going to add 2/3 of a cup of beef stock. And if you've got on hand, I didn't, 2 tablespoons of vermouth. Maybe one day I'll actually try a recipe where I put the whole stuff in. But okay, so we let this cook down. And we add salt and pepper to the mix while we're letting it cook down. And there you go. There's our onions all ready to go. Of course I had to use an onion bun for our French onion grilled cheese, just because I thought it would be cool. I cut up 2 of them just like that. And I'm going to butter the bottom, like I did with the first ones, except this one is just butter. So if you've got regular butter, you don't have to melt it. I just had some extra melted. This is Swiss cheese. And to that, I got some deli roast beef. And of course, make it to your standards, right? If you don't want to use that much, don't. But if you want to put more on, go ahead. Just remember, if you put any more than that on, you might have to put even more cheese on. Now here's our onions. And I think half's going to go on each, just because there really isn't a whole lot of onions left by the time you're done cooking them down, and I sure don't want to let them go to waste. There, that looks good. And to make sure it doesn't fall apart, I'm putting on an extra piece of cheese. Okay, we're ready to go. Into our frying pan, of course. The bottom's done, and now I don't have melted butter, I ran dry. So I'm just going to use spready butter and cover up the tops as best I can. It doesn't have to be perfect. The star is the meat and the cheese. Okay. Now we're going to carefully flip them over. I got to watch because, oh, look at that. Look at that. Beautiful. Now, you got to push down on them because you want it, the tops are rounded, so you got to make sure the tops get grilled. Now watch what happens here. Push down on it, and oops, I broke my flipper. Alright, so we get another flipper. Carefully push down this time. Now I gotta get a new flipper. But they're smelling pretty good. And I think we are done, so we're going to pull them off. And check this out. There's your French onion grilled cheese, just like that. And don't forget our roasted grilled cheese to boot. And here's the two sandwiches together, ready to eat. Nothing left to do now but dig in. Hey, another great recipe. I hope you'll give it a try. Leave me a comment below, one way or the other. Listen, if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell because that'll tell you the next time I upload a video. Feel free to share this and any of my other videos. And thanks for stopping by and watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.